If China's products were banned in America, the consequences would be far-reaching and complex. Here's a breakdown of some key thoughts on what might happen. Number 1. Impact on consumer goods and prices. Price increases. Many consumer goods, from electronics to clothing and toys, are heavily reliant on Chinese manufacturing. A ban would disrupt these supply chains, leading to shortages and potentially higher prices for everyday items. Substitution issues. Many American manufacturers are not equipped to immediately replace Chinese-made goods. This would lead to supply gaps, forcing consumers to look for alternatives that could be more expensive or lower in quality, disrupting global supply chains. China is deeply embedded in the global supply chain, not just in manufacturing, but in the production of raw materials, components, and final goods. A ban would cause major disruptions across various industries, such as automotive, tech, and pharmaceuticals. Number 2. Impact on tech and electronics. Tech shortages. China is a key player in producing electronics, semiconductors, and components for everything from smartphones to computers. A ban would likely lead to a shortage of critical components and possibly delay or increase costs for tech products in the U.S. Increased costs for innovation. Companies like Apple, Dell, and other tech giants rely on Chinese factories for assembly. Without those low-cost labor options, these companies might face higher production costs, which could slow innovation or force companies to move operations to other countries with lower labor costs. Number 3. Impact on U.S.-China relations and global economy. Diplomatic fallout. A ban on Chinese products could further escalate tensions between the U.S. and China, leading to retaliatory measures from China, such as tariffs on American goods, restrictions on American companies operating in China, or even broader economic sanctions. Impact on global trade. Since the US and China are the two largest economies, a ban could lead to instability in global trade, affecting economies around the world, especially developing nations that depend on trade with both countries. Impact on Chinese economy. Economic damage to China. China is heavily reliant on exports, particularly to the US. A ban could lead to job losses in Chinese manufacturing and affect its growth trajectory. However, China has been diversifying its trade relationships and might shift its focus to other markets, such as the European Union or emerging economies. Domestic adaptation. China might accelerate efforts to become less dependent on US markets, focusing on increasing domestic consumption or strengthening ties with other countries. Number 5. Impact on American workers. Manufacturing job growth. In the short term, some sectors might see job creation as companies look to bring production back to the US. However, this would require significant investment in infrastructure and worker retraining programs, and may not make up for the loss of cheaper goods in the marketplace. Job loss in tech and retail. In the longer term, US companies might need to adjust their business models to account for lost access to Chinese products, potentially leading to layoffs, reduced growth, or even bankruptcies in some sectors. Number 6. Shifting global trade alliances. New trade partners for China. China would likely seek new trading partners and possibly invest in other emerging markets, pushing for more trade with countries like India, Brazil, or Russia. This shift could reshape global trade patterns. Supply chain realignment. US companies may seek to diversify their supply chains, sourcing products from other countries in Asia, Southeast Asia, or Latin America, but this would take time and involve new logistical challenges. Banning Chinese products in the US would create a ripple effect across industries, economies, and geopolitical landscapes. While it could lead to short-term job creation in some US sectors, the long-term effects could be detrimental in terms of increased prices, slower innovation, and strained international relations. The global economy would likely experience turbulence, as both the US and China would need to adapt to a new set of trade and economic realities. For the US, the loss of access to affordable consumer goods, electronics, and components from China could outweigh the benefits of attempting to decouple from China in the long run. It would be a high-stakes gamble with uncertain outcomes.